Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Sweet House. Today's episode, I do have questions, but I probably won't ask them because we're going off the script with Dominique Sensabaugh. And I just have to introduce her. She's already making a statement. She's so beautiful inside and out. And Dominique is a philanthropist. She is an influencer. She's a mother. She is a wife. And she's just incredible all around. And I think we were first internet friends turned real life friends. Yes. And we actually haven't seen each other in about 5 years now, since before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. But it's like as soon as we saw each other today, our energy just matched. And then here we are. So her first question a few minutes ago was, do I need a shot of tequila? And I don't, because I feel like our energies just naturally vibe. Yes. So, and that's not a common thing for women to be able to have these type of energies and exist and work the rooms like nobody's business. It's usually like some sort of weird competition. And it's like, no, we just work. Yes. We just work together. Yes. So I don't know. I'm happy to have you here.
I appreciate you having me here. And then even you saying that weird competition piece, I was like, you, to me, bring out the best in women. When I'm around you, and this is no cap, as a youngin' say, but no cap, you bring out the best in me and all the women around you. You inspire us, and when you come in, you light up the room, and that energy is refreshing. And as a woman, you just like, I love her. Especially when you come in with an outfit and you slaying, I'm like, I love that.
Says the woman who comes in looking like Beyonce.
I wore the ponytail for you. You said we were filming. I was like, my girl, we back.
My gosh. So. She just got off the plane a couple hours ago, and I'm grateful to have you here. I always give people their flowers when they do come on The Sweet House. The goal of the show is to showcase people in their element and also share your journeys. So non-linear journeys, because none of us have had like a straight shot at like what we wanted out of life. And so I have people sit down in this chair who I know are going to authentically transfer that energy and that message to a bunch of other people. And I actually was talking to one of my friends about you and telling them that you were flying in and coming on the show. And I was like, Dominique, when I look back at her content for years, has remained true to who she is. It's not about trying to find hundreds of thousands of followers. It's not about trying to become somebody that she's not. Like, everything you do, from being a mother, decorating, making lunches for your kids, down to you being a wife, down to you throwing parties at Clemson as an alumni, like everything you do is just so intriguing and so interesting to me. I am like thoroughly entertained by your life. And I feel like one of your quotes that you had on your website was that you aren't what people thought you were going to be. And so I want to start there, because I know you went to Clemson, but where did you and where did other people think you were going to be?
One, thank you. That means the world for you to say you're entertaining.
You are,
it's literally like,
and let me back
I feel like it's just a poop show. I'm not gonna.
What, social media?
No, me. Like sometimes I feel like it is a complete mess.
No, not at
with
all.
4 babies, our oldest just turned 7, 5, 3, and 20 months. It's crazy, Yeah. And I tell people all the time, some days it's like, I'm happy to just take a shower. I'm happy to do the bare minimum. And then other days I'm like, yeah, I just completely executed a full-on event and mommed and did all the things.
All the things.
And I'm proud of myself for being able to walk in that light. I haven't always done that. I feel like pre-pandemic, back up a little bit more, even starting into the content creation, for you to say like it always looked beautiful, like I always wanted to create beautiful content.
But you invest in your content though.
Yes. Yes.
But the cool part is that you invest in your content, but it's real.
Yes.
And so it's not like you have to stage something. Like, I know that you're actually that kind of mom. I know that you are that wife. I know that you're like that entrepreneur. And I know that you invest in all the women around you.
Yes.
Like, if you're going to throw a luxury lunch or a dinner, you want to be at Dominique's table, period. Like, and that's just it. So it's not staged. Like, somebody told me that I don't share enough of my life, like, and I'm not getting real. Like, I need to be on the internet once. And I I said, well, first of all, I don't owe the internet my life.
Absolutely.
And second of all, this is my reality. So as we were just talking about with our kids at traveling with our kids and taking them to the Four Seasons or wherever.
This is real.
Yes, this is real. And if that's how I want to share it, if I want to package it up to where it looks nice and that's how I want to share it, then so be it. And honestly, I find that like intriguing. I don't need to see your dirty underwear to know that you are a real person. I don't need to see your laundry room where you're washing all 4 kids' clothes to know that that's something that you have going on. So I appreciate even how you package it up and serve it on the platter to us, because it just makes me want to be you. Like, you were a mother before me, and I was like, okay, this woman is seriously, she's got it together. So I want to be you.
I appreciate
you
that.
with 4 children.
I think a lot of people ask, well, how? Because you remember, like, how do you do it? How are you able to do it? And honestly, one is God. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I just know it's God. It's God showing up in my life and giving me this supernatural strength. Moms have supernatural strength. You know this.
Yes,
like, you'll have your kid and all of a sudden you'll be able to do stuff that you never thought that you could do. You'll be able to stay up for 18 hours straight, or you'll be able to get all these lunches figured out, or depending on what stage your baby is in, you'll be nursing and you figure it out. Like I've been in my figure it out phase for a long time, and I just made a commitment, like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up for these kids. And I feel like how we view ourselves as mothers is how we perform. I think the world sometimes wants us to see ourselves as nothing, just a mom or just a wife, or you're just home with your kids. Raising my children is one of the most important things I'll ever do. I mean, look at some of the cycles we have in the world today. No, I'm not trying to, but like,
repeat those.
The job of a mother is never done, and it's so important. And I view it so highly. So I'm honored to be able to do the things I do. Do my kids get on my nerves? Absolutely. I love them, but they know. Yeah. They know that.
Well, you make it look, you make it look appeasing. Like, we took Rain to Disney a couple weeks ago, and most of the parents, not all, but a large percentage of them kept telling us how exhausted we're going to be. And we were not exhausted. And so I appreciate seeing people like you who make it look fun, who showcase the struggles, but also showcase that it's a role that you take pride in.
Absolutely.
So I just remember like watching you. I actually was talking to Ebony one time too. Ebony's one of our mutual friends. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared of motherhood. And she was like, motherhood is sexy. Like it's strong. It's like all those things. And I feel like you were like such a beautiful mom. You are such a beautiful mom. But when I was thinking about it and trying to decide like when is the right time, I definitely looked at you as like a great example of that.
I would say I was blessed to be able to become a mom later in my 20s. I probably could have held off to like 30. I'm 30. I'll be 35 this year. And it's such a blessing to say, well, I have 4 kids. Like, I had 4 kids in 5.5 years. So it was like this constant change. It was this constant,
Did you plan it that way?
Absolutely not. we my husband and I, we wanted our first son. And that was intentional. But after that, it was like, okay, our daughter came, and it's so crazy. And I know this is God. They're 19. The first 3 are literally 19 months apart, almost to a T. And then we have our final one. There's 24 months or 2 years. But no, I didn't plan that.
Oh my God.
There was no way to plan for that. And it was always like, it was just a blessing. I think for me, it couldn't have come at a better time, but that's hindsight right now. Obviously, like, they're getting older, but I miss it. I record it, I try to record as much as I can, because as a mom, sometimes it's a blur. I'm not gonna lie. Some days,
and every moment is fleeting.
Girl, like, we have systems in place, and like the monotony of the schedule, and like how regimented we have to be can be overwhelming, but it's how we keep our sanity. And sometimes I have these spontaneous moments where I just record my kids where they are. And I've learned that with so many children, you can have a stringent schedule, but you need to have free time. You need to have time where they can just be and laugh and be silly. And I think as moms, get on their level. Like, get on the floor and like be on eye level with your kids. That's such a game changer. And when you do that and the silly stuff they laugh at or the little jokes they have or, you know, what's their new favorite thing is, they'll just start to talk to you and you build a relationship. So like, I think I've done well at building a relationship with my kids, knowing their love languages, knowing what makes them tick, getting to know them. And my mother said that when I had our first son, because again, I was like, I got to check these boxes. Yeah. I got to be this kind of mom. And I got to like, no.
I definitely planned it. Yeah. I was like, I don't need any surprises, baby Jesus. But I do think that it has made me surrender in a lot of ways. And so I just wonder what that looks like for you. How do you feel like you've surrendered a lot as a mother? Has it transformed you to lean more on your faith?
Absolutely. I feel like originally you don't know what to expect as a mom. A lot of times things will come your way and you're momming in real time. You know, I always joke with my husband. I was like, yep, we're figuring this out in real time. Don't judge me. And I'm not afraid to apologize to my children. Like if I make a mistake, I apologize to them. I communicate with them, even though they're small and they're little tiny humans. They're little tiny humans. They have feelings, which are huge, and they're trying to learn how to control them. They are learning to express themselves. And I think parents want their children to advocate for themselves and be, you know, advocate for yourself, speak up, you know, speak your mind. But every time children speak their mind, parents are like, don't talk back. Which one is it? Yeah. Like you have to teach them tact. You have to teach them manners. You have to teach them how to present themselves in a certain way. And so we even taught our kids how to negotiate, which backfires. But like teaching them how to negotiate at these young ages, and they communicate so well. They communicate their feelings. They communicate what they like and what they don't like. And sometimes I'm like, I don't like that. You know, as a parent, it can seem challenging, but it's also rewarding because it's like I'm teaching you how to function, have autonomy and agency, and just to advocate for yourself. Like my 7-year-old can walk in a restaurant and like order him some food, request they change the channel, ask for extra crayons for his siblings. Do you serve dessert? Where's the bathroom? Like he just functions so well. And I'm like, this just comes from.
Is it ever weird to you to look at your kid and just say, where did you come from? Like I was laying down with Rain last night and she put her little hand on mine and I was just like, oh, these little fingers. I don't know. It just makes me sad and happy at the same time. Yeah. Do you ever feel like that?
I think that's the struggle of a mother. I pride myself in talking to seasoned older mothers. Every time I see them, I ask, you know, what's the secret? Tell me one parenting tip off the cuff. It doesn't have to be sugar-coated. Give me something. And you can learn from everybody. You can learn how to be. You can learn how not to be. You can chew up the meat, spit out the bones, but there's something that mothers can give each other and they want to give it to you. Most parents want to pour into you. And so I'll ask and they'll give me so much feedback. And I think I'm just like, okay, I'm going to incorporate that. I'm not going to do that. And that really helps me, you know, kind of guide me in what I want to see from my kids. But like, it's a wild ride, girl.
It is a wild ride.
It is wild. Like I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. But every time you think you've conquered something or you figured it out, there's something new. And then with having 4 babies, there's 4 personalities. Yeah. There's 4 people, individual people who.
Do you want more?
No, girl.
No. What's one more? I asked because I'm the 5th. And so my mom always said she was done at 4. Yeah. And then she had me. So
no, we're done. My husband and I feel like we're done. We're happily done. And we're blessed. I mean, to go from 2 to 6, like I'm legit in a restaurant. Can party at 6, automatic grat, you know, like I got to make reservations.
Are y'all still riding in the same car with 4 kids?
No, we have completely upgraded to, it's almost like a presidential vehicle. I have 4 car seats. Like people don't realize that. Like, I legit have 4 car seats at one point.
Well, what's wild is like growing up, there were no car seat regulations. And so with 5 of us, like my parents were like just throwing folks in the van.
Seatbelt on. So we legit have, as one of them has grown out of the car seat, I was like cleaning out baby stuff. And this is the phase that I'm in. I have like a full-blown toddler. I don't have that squishy baby anymore. So I, like when I see moms with their squishy babies or they're tired, I'm like, enjoy it, mama, because it's fast. It's so fast, and you're going to blink. And like I said, I was listening to recordings. I recorded each of my babies when they were little. So their little coos and their little sounds. I recorded myself nursing them because, again, that was I love nursing them, but that was a job to learn. And it was full time for me. It was not easy nursing my kids. Like, I wasn't one of those moms that I didn't love being pregnant. And like people were like, I can't believe you said it out loud. I struggled while I was pregnant. I struggled with my mental health. I struggled physically, especially chasing the toddler. You know, literally, we had a toddler, I was pregnant. We had another.
Every time.
We had 2 toddlers, I was pregnant. Like at
three of them.
At one point, it was 3 babies under 3. We had 3 babies in diapers in the house. And like, when I see moms that are like in that phase of life, I'm like, you need to show yourself some grace. And you and the people around you need to show you and your family some grace, because
do you feel like you had a good tribe of people around you to help you with each kid? Well, let's just start with the first one.
Okay.
Did you feel like you had a good support system?
I feel like we had Jamar when Coty was still playing, and that was tough.
Oh, let's back up. Her husband. So I told y'all we were going off script with this. So we're actually going to go backwards, because I actually did not even plan to hop into this with motherhood. But when 2 moms sit down, we get straight to it with motherhood, because it is a full-time job that is to be respected. But Dominique is also a beautiful wife to her amazing husband. So Coty Sensabaugh, they are college sweethearts. And so they both went to Clemson, and then he went to the NFL, and he played for how long?
He played for 8 years.
Yeah.
So it was almost a decade in that life, and it was crazy, but fun. And I'm very grateful that we started to build our family towards the end of his career. And I'm grateful that we had that time together. Like it'll be 16 years that we're together, and you're married to a college sweetheart, so you understand. We grew up together. You know the dynamics of a relationship like that. 14 years, girl. So like we celebrate the small things, and a lot of people may say, well, like a date for us is a date in the grocery store. We'll make it sexy. Like, you know what I mean? A car ride where we can talk to each other. Because we've learned that with having all this, the size of our family and having these babies back to back, it has been a blessing. But at one point, it took a toll on our marriage. It took a toll on us being able to communicate. And, you know, they say that parents have this season where when they bring a baby home, they turn into like living roommates, and they like talk to each other for 5 minutes and fight
like
for
2
sleep.
ships passing in the night.
And no one talks about that. And we had moments like that where, you know, I brought an infant home and was trying to learn how to breastfeed, and Coty, we were sleeping in separate rooms because he had to go play a game. And there was no help. And I think a part of me started to resent him for that. But a part of me also had to learn how to ask for help. As a mother, I was never taught how to ask for help. Even as a woman, I felt like I was weak for asking for help, or
how
even
do you
needing
ask
help.
For help? Though
now I can delegate all day long. Like I can figure out, like, I'm overwhelmed. Like, it took phases. I'm overwhelmed. I'm mad at myself for being overwhelmed. And then that turns into angst. And then that angst, that anger, and the frustration from not having any help, I think it was God's way. Motherhood was God's way of showing me, like, it's okay for you to ask for help and need a support system and rely on that support system. Yeah. Also with Coty, he's a phenomenal father. And a lot of people sometimes forget the role that phenomenal fathers can play. And I never downplay, yes, I'm a great mom, but he is an amazing dad. And a part of me is so happy and grateful for him as my husband. And that's great. But like, my mother was a single parent, and I lost my father 2 years ago. And that really taught me a lesson about life. But I am kind of living quasi through my daughters and my sons what an amazing father looks like. I had a phenomenal grandfather, you know, that helped raise me. But like, seeing him up close and in action, it's everything. And no, dads don't do the things that moms do. You know, like, no, they don't. Dads live in a different world. And I think moms need to learn to let dads parent their style. Let them do their thing, because dads teach kids that moms just can't. You know, we are the nurturers, and dads come in, and like, our daughter legit could walk at like 9 months, our youngest. And I'm like, how's the baby walking? Like, I found out, well, she just walks up the stairs sometimes with me when we're here. And I'm like, okay, right. her walk up the stairs alone. And then it's like, and he's like, she's fine. Like, she's okay. And I'm like, you're right. And obviously he's with her walking up the stairs, but moms freak out. You know, dads are just different. They teach confidence. They're chill. Like, it's a different vibe. And I think having that and having him around with our children has allowed me to thrive as a mom. You know, I'm like, go to your dad.
I feel like their dynamic is just more of they allow us to do what we need to do as moms. But then they're also, their presence with the kids is also still so beneficial. It's like calming. It's calming for the moms and the kids.
Absolutely.
So I need somebody to tell me it's going to be okay. Because Alex and I have been out here on our own. Like we're just, I mean, we have a village as far as friends go, but we don't have family here. So our family's like everywhere in Memphis, New York, Houston, like everywhere. So it's not like it's not like I came home with like grandma and like everybody, my mom and like cousins and aunties and everybody in the kitchen, like waiting to cook my postpartum meals and like waiting to change my sheets and stuff. No, like I told somebody the other day, like I came home from the hospital with high blood pressure. And I was trying to figure out how to breastfeed on top of trying to like understand like what is going on with me. And I also lost my dad to congestive heart failure, which is a high blood pressure inducing and all of that. So just me thinking about it, or he had high blood pressure, which induced to heart disease and everything else. So me thinking like, okay, that's how I lost my dad. And then he lost his mom when he was 27. She was 46 in her sleep. And so then I'm like, it's like postpartum sends you. It sent me because I was like, I'm over here like, wait a minute, like, am I gonna die? Like, am I asleep tonight? Because like I'm on medication for high blood pressure. I just came from the hospital, and I don't have a bunch of family around.
Somebody gave me this baby. Like they trusted me to keep this person
I'm
alive.
Like, wait, where did she come from? It's like you're processing all these things, and so it was a lot for me. I had to unpack because it had been a few years since my dad passed. I guess probably 5 years when Rain was born. But I just felt like because I saw him go through so much with high blood pressure and heart disease, and then I ended up with high blood pressure, I was like, oh my God, like I cannot leave her here by herself. Like it was just a lot for me because I lost him at 27, and then he lost his mom when he was 27. So I'm just like, she just got here. So I got to get my stuff together. Yes. So it was a lot for me to like sort it all out and comprehend that like the village doesn't look how the village looks on TV.
Absolutely.
And so, or the village doesn't look how people make it look on social media, with you coming home and the balloons are on your doorstep and somebody's in your kitchen like cooking meals for you every day. My village didn't look like that. I had to like pay for my village. I had to hire a night nurse.
You had to outsource your village and bring it in. And I think parents especially need to, I'm not gonna say lower your expectations. That's not what I'm gonna say as a parent, but tailor your expectations. Because I think, prime example, my first birth. I was like, it's in a birthing center. It's going to go so well. I'm going to get in this birthing tub. Those contractions hit, and I gave birth in North Carolina, in the state of North Carolina, after 24 hours, if you're, even though you've gone into labor, if you're not in active labor, you have to go to a hospital. So I am. I envisioned this birthing center and this zenful birth, which was awesome. I wanted that for me so bad. And non-medicated, no. As soon as the contractions came in full force and they started stacking, where's the medicine?
Somebody give me the medicine.
And that's something like, as a mom, I used to be so like, and this is so crazy. As a mom, I used to be so angry that I had to have medication in a birth because I felt like I failed. I delivered a person. Like, I think tailoring your expectations, I kept a person alive. Like that first birthday, I'm always like, celebrate the parents. You kept a person alive. You figured it out because you know, like I know, late nights with a kid, teething, sleep training.
And you're still trying to work. And you're still trying to nurture your marriage.
And nurture. We didn't even get to marriage.
We're going back there.
We didn't even get to like trying to still work on your marriage and date your spouse and figure out each other's needs and what the dynamic of children bring into a marriage. And so it's just, I feel like it's a lot. And I feel like women and mothers need to give themselves a little more grace and a little more, just applaud yourself. Like,
I wish more people actually talked about what the village looked like. And so that is a question that I'm always openly willing to answer. I was at a luncheon for working mothers, and I was just like, y'all, the village is not ready-made for anybody.
It's not.
And so you have to make the village. And also, like you said, learn how to ask for help. And if the village consists of you hiring like a housekeeper, or you hiring like a nanny, or you choosing daycare, or whatever it is, like all of these components are a part of the village, because you cannot do it by yourself. And the modern day village looks a lot different from what it looked like years ago.
Village to be.
Yeah. Or what you expected it to be.
And comparison is the thief of joy. If you start comparing, well, this person does this with their family, and they like cooking. Like, I'm not in my cooking era. We're not there. We are not there. I am in my cook maybe breakfast and lunch era, but dinner I am sourcing some healthy takeout, or I'm like,
that's it.
I'm not like, you cannot do it all. Like, and I've noticed with 4 babies, like, one gets sick, we got to wipe down all the toys. We got to clean out. Just throw away all the toys. Throw it all away. I remember.
Throw it all away. Sell the house too.
I remember, girl, I'll never forget this. All 3 of my kids, we had 4 kids at the time. 3 of my kids got hand, foot, mouth at the same time.
Rain's had it one time. Ugh.
And I was just like, God, do you? And you know where? When the first one caught it, I was going to the Beyonce concert.
Ooh, girl.
And I felt terrible, but I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I got a sick kid at home, but I got these tickets to see Beyonce. And in that moment, I chose to go see Beyonce. I got my whole life together, and I needed that empowerment and inspiration from Queen Bee to come back and nurse my kids all back to health, because it was literally back to back to back. And by the grace of God, the baby didn't get it. Yeah. These are the types of things that parents are not talking about. Like, you need a night nurse because you really need to sleep. Sleep is essential. Get you a night nurse. Yes. You need to outsource a sitter because you and your husband need that date. Don't put your marriage on the back burner over and over and over and over again. Like, your husband deserves a piece of you too. And girl,
I didn't even know what a night nurse was until probably, maybe a year before I had Rain.
Yes.
Because that's also a resource that people don't talk about. So I actually had my night nurse come on for season 2 to actually talk about the benefits of it, because a lot of times there's so much negativity around it, and it's looked at like it's a privilege, and it is a privilege to be able to hire anybody to come and help you out. But a lot of times, like you said, do what you got to do, and like, don't keep putting a date night on the back burner. Find a high schooler, a college, somebody who is willing to come and work for you for a few hours so that you can get yourself back together, because you need that time. You need the space.
Not only do you need it, you deserve it.
Yeah.
I feel like we are worthy to still follow our dreams as mothers. We are worthy to still take care of ourselves. I realized a long time ago, as much as I love my children, I was sick. I had COVID or the flu or something. I got up. I felt terrible. My kids got up. You gonna cook breakfast?
Right, because they expected you to be on your A game.
Where's our breakfast?
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, I was like, I'm literally, they don't see that. And so I feel like I'm not.
You're superwoman to them.
You can't martyr for your family, because you can't be your best self if you are always run down. If you're never taking time for yourself, you can never really pour into them. Like, you're awesome. You have a light and an energy about you. You recharge that light. You recharge that energy. Yeah. That's what your baby loves about you. But you also pour into yourself. You're still a woman first. And now this isn't like overnight arrival. This was me really going through some low pits and places and realizing like, I am dealing with postpartum depression. I need to get myself together so that I can better care for my children. I am dealing with a lot of stress and grief right now. I need to grieve my father so that I can be a better parent and a better wife. I am dealing with the body changes, you know, things that are different in this new body that I'm trying to make work for me, that has been a miracle for me and brought these people to life, but is not fitting any of my clothes. Like,
but you know what? I like my postpartum body.
You snatch.
I like
you
her.
snatch. Like,
you're snatched.
You snatch. I got a lot of compression and
girl, stop.
No, we serious. I can give you.
Do y'all see this? Like, do y'all see this? Like, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely gorgeous, inside and out, and it radiates.
And it took a while to get here. This is a work in progress. This is. I remember I was dodging the mirror after probably my 3rd pregnancy. Our youngest son, he just, that was my biggest baby too. You know, I'm delivering kind of small. Our youngest, he came out almost 9 pounds. And he was
girl.
Like, hey, Mom.
Was that a C-section or were you able?
It was vaginal. Oh. And girl, he was here and he was a big, solid baby. And that was like my COVID baby. And I just remember, like, I did not recognize myself. I literally would dodge mirrors. And that was a really low feeling as a mother. And one day I stood in front of the mirror, I kid you not, and I was like, I am beautiful. And I said it over and over. And so I was in tears. And I'm like, I am going to stand here. I am beautiful. Like, I have done something amazing. I I got 3 babies in diapers and we're all alive at the end of the night. Like, my marriage I'm working on it and we're pulling through and we're pushing through these moments. Like, we were building a house at the time. You know, I went through a court case. Like, my mom made it. I got sued. You know, like, I'm living life in real time. I'm raising these babies and I love myself for where I'm at. Is it perfect? No. But like that your body hears you. Every part of your body, when you speak negatively about yourself, it hears you. So like, you need to speak life into yourself. You need to speak love into yourself because your body hears that my skin is gorgeous. I remember at the time I had like baby breakouts. My skin is gorgeous. You know, like my body is gorgeous. I'm strong again. Yeah. I'm in shape. I love myself. And now I really mean it. And those affirmations radiate because I remember a time when they didn't. And I was like, we're not staying here.
Yeah. You remember that girl.
Yes.
And you know where you are now.
Absolutely. And that's what my family loves about me. So with mothers, it's like,
it's not just your family.
I know,
love this about you. But her sister's sitting over here laughing. I'm like,
that's what people love. And that's what I deserve that. I feel like I deserve as a mother to have time to work out, to pursue my passions, to work, to develop myself, to pour into my marriage. Like, girl, Coty and I are going to start taking these couple trips. We started, you know, people would laugh at us because we would do 24-hour trips. I was nursing at the time. And our last baby, she was like, I'm not taking a bottle. So you can come back, but I'm not going to drink until you come back. I'm going to wait on you. And so, but I still was proud of myself because my husband deserved me. I deserve me. I deserve to sleep in. I deserve to have that because I know when I'm with my babies and it's the day to day, I'm giving them my all. So why not? You know, it's got to be some kind of balance. It's got to be like, you can't pour. And then when it's empty, you like, I wonder why the cup's empty because you're not refilling it. Like,
how do you see yourself as a mom in the next 5 to 10 years? You know how people ask people this question about careers, which I think is crazy, when they're like, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? But as a mom, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because I do feel like it's a bit more tangible when I talk about motherhood. If somebody asks me where I see myself in 5 years, Rain is going to be 8. I think she, just based on her personality, is going to be doing something really cool. And I just can't wait to be that mom that's like cheering her on the sidelines and like to really start cultivating that relationship with her before she becomes a preteen. So where do you see yourself in like 5 years? And who knows, I might have like 3 more kids by then.
When you do call me, because I'm going to be like, Jasmine, I'm coming to get Rain. Give you a break with the babies. That's a great question. I will have a 12-year-old. I have a 12. My oldest will be 12, so I'll be going into the preteen stages, which is different. I will say this. As a mother, I would love to just see them have character, have integrity, be impeccable, and just be happy. And like have a work ethic. Like, we teach our kids to have a work ethic. We teach them to have delayed gratification. We teach them to have gratitude. Because if you don't, the world's not teaching them that. So like, what we constantly instill day in and day out as it manifests, and I'm watching that in my babies, like that, I can see that. That's making me proud. Is that Jamar in engineering camp? Or is that Journey as the baby artist? Is that Justice singing his songs as a musician or playing basketball? Whatever that looks like, I see that now, but I see these babies thriving. And I see them having so much character and so much resolve. And that comes from their mother and father pouring in them. Yeah. That gives me joy. Oh. And confidence. Yeah. Like, my kids have confidence. Yeah. And they come from
they have 2 parents who are also confident and who have like had careers that you have to be confident in the roles that both of y'all have been in.
Absolutely.
So, but I'm going to go backwards because Aaron just came over and told me I have 15 minutes, but we're not going to stop in 15 minutes because I've not asked her anything from this list.
This is too good.
I told you. It's always like this whenever I have people sit down and we start talking and we go off script. I always tell people that I'm going to give you these questions, but this is not necessarily how we're going with it. So we talked about motherhood so much because it is such an impactful role for everybody who's a mom. I mean, I was just listening to Killer Mike and his grandmother raised him, but he was talking about when his grandmother died, like he was sad, but he was like, my mama told me that when she died, that I would be even more sad when she died. And his mom didn't raise him. He said he looked at his mom as if she was his older sister. And so he said, but when my mom died, like I felt that. Like he was like, now I knew what she was talking about.
Absolutely.
Because she was like, you know, she was telling him, you're crying over your grandmother, but that was my mom.
Yes.
So when I go, you're going to feel this. And it's just really interesting how no matter what, like your mama, no matter what, if you are connected or not, it's just, if y'all have a good relationship or not, there's something about a mom that just gets you. It just gets you. So
the perspective of losing a parent, because as we start to navigate that, no one's given us these manuals of as you navigate losing a parent, right? Like we're in our 30s. You were 20. That's so young. You're 27. I'm 34.
I felt robbed. Yeah.
It's very difficult. To say the least. There is no way, like, because you're constantly living in grief. I'll forever grieve my father, because if today my kids graduate college, I would grieve my father because he missed that moment and he's not there in the physical. Or recently, my mother-in-law passed, which literally took the wind out of me. But again, my faith and, watching my husband have to grieve, it's hard. These are hard things that we're having to navigate. And they don't talk about this enough. Watching your children grieve. My children grieve their grandmother, and you can't escape the emotions. You have to be there for them. You have to hold them. You have to embrace them.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. Because I not even thought about it from that angle, because
I never heard a mother talk about I had to help my children grieve. And maybe that doesn't happen as soon. Maybe they don't lose. You're blessed to watch. I had this concept because my grandparents are older. My grandmother's about to be 80. My grandfather's 89. I've always had this concept of taking my parents with me into old age. And the idea of them not existing in old age, it really,
it rocks you.
It does. And like you said with your mom, like had I lost my mom first, I don't know what I would have done. Like your parents have such a place in your heart that you just can't explain. Even if you have, problems and traumas and issues, because we all do, That's it. Parents and it's a strain sometimes.
It's a supernatural connection.
It is a supernatural connection. And to know that existed and to have and experience that is just something so powerful. And, I always tell the kids with them grieving, I'm just like, this hurts. I can't take this away, but I'm here to help you navigate it. I'm not here to help you to take away your pain. As a mother, I'm not here to honestly make your life easier. I'm here to give you tools to navigate all this thing life is throwing at you.
That's such an interesting conversation to have. And I'm glad you brought it up, because when my dad passed, my oldest niece, I think she was maybe 6 or 7. And I don't think my brother said too much to her about it. I think my dad was actually in Memphis at my brother's house when he passed. And so I think maybe he told her granddad just went to heaven, or Jesus took granddad, but they didn't really have a lot of conversations around it. And then there's 5 of us. So our family is live after 5. It's always something going on.
I know.
Yeah. And so it was all right, daddy would want us to keep going and hustling, and we're all entrepreneurs and got all this stuff going on. So I think just the whole family as a group just kept moving with the camaraderie. And so I don't think we even considered the little people who actually had to grieve. And then my little nieces and nephews, I just think they were too young to even process it.
Absolutely.
But now that I'm a mom, I just remember when my dad passed, I was 27, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, he will never see me become a mom. He died 6 months before Alex and I got married. Man, he was supposed to be here to walk me down the aisle, all these moments. And I'm just and I remember even saying to my mom, Granddad died when you were 40 something. I don't even get that.
Yeah.
And I'm I also had that idea of what it was supposed to look like, but I never considered, what it's going to be like when we lose my mom or Alex's parents. He still got both of his parents. How will we tell Rain or our other children or my nieces and nephews how to grieve?
They're not
as little people.
It's no recipe for them to do that. And it really catches you off guard. And I think, obviously I'm not saying prepare to grieve. You never can do that. But I think my husband lost his brother. My husband was 11 and his brother was 16. And I saw how that really impacted the dynamic of his family. And the joy I was broken when my mother-in-law passed, so broken. But the one thing that gave me solace was she was going to be with her son. You know, like she was finally, she had did her job on earth, and it was time for her to go back and be with her son. And that still to this day, it calms me. I miss them. I miss her every day. I missed like her being there to be there for the kids. And like, we didn't expect her to pass, you know, so it was so unexpected, just like my father. But I'm just like, we have to find those pockets of just, all right, what's the joy? What's the joy in all this? What did they give us? Because, and the grief is not linear. Like you may grieve your father forever, you know, like. Oh,
I know I will.
Yeah. And you know, and it's like, I have to tell people, like, you cannot put a timeline and an expectation. And then grief, like you literally can celebrate your baby walking for the first time and then turn around and be really sad because your parent's not there to experience that with you. Or you can celebrate, you know, my husband and I had to plan my son's 7th birthday party 2 weeks after his grandmother's services. Right after we planned her services, we were planning his birthday party. Devastated, you know, like 1 minute I'm crying and the next minute, but I'm like, we allowed them to see us grieve. We allowed them to watch their parents have a human experience. That's not given enough. Your parents are human. Like, and I think letting them see you have these human experiences, a lot of times we want to, you know, hide things from our kids or conceal. Like, I got it together. I tell my kids, you know, today mommy doesn't have it together. Today I'm struggling. Today I'm sad. Today I'm really trying to navigate my emotions and my feelings, and they get it. And they may not get all of it, but they get it. And that really helps them become better humans. Like,
no, yes. I mean, it gives them a sensual side that they need to explore anyways.
And I think depression and, you know, suppressing your emotions and not allowing our kids to feel, like, I really, like, let's let these, like, I would really encourage parents, let your kids feel. Yeah. You know, like, you got to sit in it with them, and it's hard, you know?
It's so, I'm just loving this conversation and where it's going, because it was not on the script. But I'm
sorry. No, you're going to do all your questions. I'm not going to do any more.
No, it's girl, just so, let's just go with it.
When you took it here, it hit home for me. And like, again, I'm grieving. Like, I show up, and I may show up together. I may show up, but I'm still grieving, and I still miss that person. But I'm so grateful. With grief comes gratitude. Like, I may have lost someone, but I'm so grateful for the people that I have right now. It makes you really, it shows you, like, to me, procrastination is the audacity to believe that you're guaranteed another day. So I stopped procrastinating with everything. I stopped procrastinating with
me too. When my
I love you text. I stopped procrastinating with, hey, being intentional about the visions that God put inside of me to bring to fruition. I stopped procrastinating with my career, with my children, with the trips. I stopped procrastinating with us traveling. Like, we'll take that trip next year. No, we're going to do that this year.
We're going right now.
We're going to put the effort in.
We're going next week.
When we staying at the Four Seasons, where they give you the little tiny robes, and we're going to enjoy this. So it's
the chocolate chip cookies. And like, and the nice food. We're doing this.
Seasons.
Four Seasons should be sponsoring this episode.
They so should.
We've just given them way too much.
Y'all have gotten all the coin from our families, because our babies, we want them to experience that with us. And so, like, that grief propelled me into gratitude for every relationship that is phenomenal, for every, you know, every moment of celebration, for every moment. And we just have to look at that post-COVID. A lot of people are still grieving their life pre-COVID, right? Like, a lot of people, I know I was, you know, I was working, vibing. I had all these events. I had all these things. COVID came in and sliced. Like, sliced. Nothing. It changed.
You had to redirect.
Everything.
Yes. Redirect, re-strategize. Which way are we going? What do we want to do at this point? And what makes sense? Like, even in our world exists digitally now. So how do you show up in this hemisphere that's not necessarily our real world? Everything is online. Like, literally your bank, your healthcare, everything, your social life, it's all online. So it's, how do you show up? Like, how much are you willing to put on the internet? You talk about recording your children. Do you put that on the internet, or do you save that for yourself when you want to hear those coos? Like, you know, there's so many dynamics that we're now having to explore to decide who and how we want to navigate this new world.
Absolutely.
So it's just not the same.
It's real time. Like, we are figuring it out in real time. That's why when people say, we got it together.
And we're the last generation who knew what it was like to exist before all of this.
Absolutely.
Before social media.
I think we're the really lucky ones, though, because we're the ones who knew what it was like to go to Blockbuster and get a movie, and you got one movie. Like, my kids were like, can you put a new movie on? Like, we were watching Netflix. Like, I don't like this one. I'm like, this is too many options. Like we're the
have it
ones
at your fingertips
to know what it's like to like come home and like write your phone number down for your crush, and like you gotta call their house and call their mom and like, can I please speak to such and such? Like we're the last ones, you know, that had to have that demand that kind of communication, and that's a blessing. Like, and I think
it's kind of cool.
It is. It's aging us in some ways. You know, we're dated in some ways, but it shows.
I don't think so. I think it's so funny. Like even watching Rain, I bought her this little Elmo phone, and she picks up the Elmo phone. Hello. And I'm like, girl, she never sees me walk around like talking on my phone like that, because I'm usually with my AirPods, or, you know, I'll just put people on speakerphone or whatever. But I think it's so interesting because we did all used to answer the phone like that. Like when we check into a hotel, the first thing Rain does is she goes and gets that phone. Hello. And it's like just even something so simple as being able to go pick up the phone and like dial the numbers. It's like, that's so nostalgic and something that's so cool that we got to do. I don't know. It's just like, I hope it never goes away.
I think a piece of that won't, and we'll appreciate it. But I also tell moms who are like, you know, AI is coming in like, and it's really taking over
It's
everything.
really not though.
And to it, you can, I put it like this. It can work in your favor if you allow it to. And I have found ways, because at first it would just kind of scare me. Like, what is this? You know, I'm not like, I wasn't the most tech savvy. Like now I'm getting it together. And I would be nervous. I would be afraid. I'm like, what is this? What are you talking about? Like, what is this? And now I'm like, use it for your advantage. You want to work out, get an app to help you track your metrics. You need a better calendar, get some calendars that can automatically schedule and automate your stuff. Get you an app that can help order your groceries or your meals and line it up so that you can help your life.
But it will never have human intelligence. And so
it won't, but
no matter. Like,
I say this. I say AI plus that human piece really elevates you, and it allows you to operate. And I think leaning into it and learning it, not being afraid of it. Like,
oh, for sure. Yes. And that is one thing I will say about both my mom and my grandmother. My grandmother passed a couple years ago when she's 96, but both of them, like, no matter what, are always trying to like learn new things. Like my grandmother was like working her iPhone and FaceTiming us during the pandemic. And I want us to be that way too, where we're continuing to evolve. But we are also the producers of all things new. Millennials were told we were going to be lazy, and we're not at all. Like we are literally introducing these things. Like we're the ones who are working on AI and improvements in AI and all these things. So yeah, I mean, the new generation is very interesting. They're choosing whether or not they want to go to college. Our generation was like, oh, I'm going to college. Oh, and I'm going to get a job. Oh, and I'm going to be like someone's wife and someone's mother. Like we were doing all of that. And I feel like they are getting more, the new generation, they're very interesting. They're getting more like, oh, I'm just going to go down this one path. And if it doesn't work, then maybe I'll try that. But they're not the same as millennials in that we were all trying to wear multiple hats.
And I think that may be something that has been to our demise, and not giving us ourselves more grace.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because I'm like you. I'm like, we never had the option. Like, I'm glad I went to college, because if I didn't,
me too.
You know, I needed some structure. I needed to be at somebody's university learning, because.
But also, like, we were still using textbooks. Like now they have everything at their fingertips. We were at Blockbuster. Yeah. Like now everything's like all digital. So I always ask this question to everybody who sits in this seat too. Do you feel like is education still the way to go? Like, do you need to go to college?
Truly, I mean, everything has changed. You look on YouTube, you got little babies opening toys with millions of followers, building their whole brands. And this whole influencer, direct marketing, building your community and your brand, utilizing the internet the way you want to. There are some tangible skills that you're always going to have and to be a great leader, to be a phenomenal entrepreneur, and you still have to develop those skills. You can't shortchange the process, because if you do, just as fast as you get to the success, you're going to lose it. You have to learn some of these tangible skills that we were taught, that we had to learn the hard way. And you have to learn that consistency, because if you start treating everything like a hobby, you'll just dabble here and dabble here and dabble there. You'll never be able to stick around when it becomes difficult. You have to learn how to tap into your networks, to utilize your support systems around you, to be uncomfortable. Like, I want people it's okay to be uncomfortable. Like, it's okay to be uncomfortable as you grow in your career. It's okay to be uncomfortable as you grow in your marriage. It is okay to be uncomfortable as you grow as a parent. It's okay to not know and commit to finding out. It's okay to pursuing to pivot. It's okay to pursue that dream that you want to pursue. And I just think more people need to be affirmed of that, because I have, and it's been a game changer for me. And back what you said at the beginning, it was never what you expected. Absolutely not. You could ask anybody, any of my college sorors, anybody that knew, even ask old Coty and I, like, did you ever imagine us? You know, we met at 18. I would never imagine having 4 children and the life that I have. But I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself by how I've utilized every single lemon and made a hell of a lemon spread.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
And I got lemon cake. I got lemon pops. I got lemonade. I got, you name it. I got lemon margaritas. I got lemon pie. Like, everything that is coming to my life that is completely, and that's how I look at this new generation of things. You have to make it work for you.
Yeah.
And that's something that you have to choose to do every single day. It's, you got to come in like, all right, what are we doing? Because it's so different. Everything is different.
Well, at what point did you decide, because you went to college, what'd you go to school for?
My degree is, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and a minor in Spanish.
Okay, so she was going to be Olivia Pope. But she didn't meet Fitz. She met Coty. And went the other way. Yes, Lord. Thank God.
But you know what I did really well, and it was something college never gave me. My grandmother owned a catering business. My grandmother fed people. My mother, they fed people. They had events, and they taught me how to host. They taught me how to welcome. They taught me how to manage. They taught me how to delegate. They taught me how to take an idea and tenfold it and make people feel welcome. And so, and in college, that's all I did. Like, I was social. I went to class, I did my work, but like, I built something social. Like, I used those communication skills to build relationships. When I came to Nashville, it's so funny. Like, I know God placed us in Nashville. Nashville is a giving city. It's a philanthropic city. Put this big-hearted 22-year-old in Nashville, give us a platform and let us work. And that's what happened. We had mentors around us. We had individuals. Like, my externship was all the Nashville nonprofits, because Nashville takes care of Nashville. Yeah. And Nashville does take care of Nashville. Every city is not like this. Nashville takes care of Nashville, and this is a giving place, and this is where you can come. And that allowed me to learn how the inner workings. Volunteer state. The inner workings of a nonprofit. It allowed me to understand what you can do to serve those around you. It taught me about equity. Like, one of my first jobs was it's huge now. I always say this. It was at Weekend. You remember Weekend? Yes, girl. And one thing about Weekend, I was the office manager for Weekend. And of course, I'm fresh out of college. I have this degree. I have this degree. I should be doing this and this. God needed to humble me, and I needed to see this. But you know what I saw in that job? I saw ownership and I saw equity. Yes. And I saw 3 dynamic individuals own something and grow it from nothing. Yeah. And that's what I needed, because as soon as I left, I took that and I took ownership and equity and was able to grow it from nothing. And that is what I'm so proud of. And like, you tell the 22-year-old back then on Church Street, like, I should be working here, No, I was right where I needed to be.
And I think everybody feels like that when they graduate from college. It's like, especially our generation, it's like, because that was the promise that we were sold, go to college and you're going to get this golden job. And then the rest is history, and you're going to be able to retire comfortably at X amount of time. And that's just not what it looks like. And so I do applaud this new generation for not waiting on somebody to create that blueprint for them, but they are just out here trying some stuff.
And they're not afraid to reinvent themselves.
No.
They're not afraid. Like, why is our generation so afraid to reinvent ourselves?
I think it's because somebody told us that that's how it was supposed to go. And I think people forget that we're very, very, very close to integration. And we didn't
wanted to,
I mean, my mom integrated schools. And so even like my mom wanted to go to University of Memphis. They were only taking so many Black students. I got to go to University of Memphis. She did not. She ended up having to go to UT Martin. And she also was like, she graduated from college. I luckily came from a home where I had one parent who had a college degree. My dad didn't have a college degree, but he owned a construction company. So
he was an entrepreneur.
Yeah, he was an entrepreneur. So I mean, and ultimately my mom ended up being his office manager. So she was like a mom, stay-at-home mom, but she also was like a working stay-at-home mom, which is a whole nother dynamic. We're gonna have to have episode 2 to talk about working stay-at-home moms. because that's a whole nother subject that like is taboo and people don't really dive deep beneath the surface of the label. But anyways, I say all that to say it is very interesting to see this new generation just branch out. But I think we were just grateful to be able to do the things that our parents weren't able to do.
Absolutely.
So we became the generation that had access to technology, had access to higher education, potentially had access to have high paying positions in corporate America. Now, did it turn out how we all thought it was going to look? No, nobody was handing out offer letters to like high paying jobs in corporate America to the recent graduate because they had X degree. It just didn't look like that for us, but that was what we were sold.
Absolutely.
Because our parents didn't have that option at all in a lot of cases, especially if they didn't live in like major cities like New York or LA or somewhere. If you live in like in the South and you're just in some regular old city, the opportunities just weren't there.
What we see now didn't exist. The careers that we have now, they didn't exist. And so we are trailblazers. Trailblazers get arrows in the back. Trailblazers have to work a little extra harder to push themselves forward. Trailblazers have to find a way out of no way. Trailblazers are like, oh my gosh, how am I going to figure this out? They have to go into something with this spirit of relentless will to figure it out. And that's just the role that we played. But Jasmine didn't see a Jasmine growing up. I didn't see a Dominique growing up. My sisters, that's in a creative space. She didn't see a phenomenal photographer growing up. We didn't see creatives excelling in that way. So that's something that we should be proud of and we should act on. Like, we as a trailblazer, you have to expect, it can't be sunshine and roses all the time. You have to expect to go through the trenches to elevate. And then give us time. I feel like to those who are like trying to figure it out, even at 30, I'm 34, I am trying to figure it out. Girl,
join the club.
I am still trying to figure it out. And I think what propels me into this spaces of confidence is, one, my faith, two, my relentless ability to not give up. Like, I'm not giving up. Like, one, I don't have the option to give up. And then three is like, I'm trusting the fact that God is using me. I know I'm walking in my purpose. Like, I wouldn't meet amazing women like you. Like, if I wasn't walking in my purpose, I wouldn't be able to come back to a city that's Nashville, that's home for me, that I've left almost a decade ago, and have community and have family and pour into people. Like, when you're walking in that purpose, and you don't have all the answers and you don't have it ever figured out, but you have these glimpses of greatness, and then those glimpses turn into flickers, and flickers is like the lights.
No, she should be a rapper.
I'm just saying, like, when you said
what's your rapper name, Dom? I feel like you're like common. You're like poetic.
I got a little Beyonce inside of me. Like,
she got a little Beyonce. But
when she get on the mic, I just need a grill at the bottom. Just give me some grill. Give me a little grill. Get me together.
Gosh. Well, it's not too late to decide you're gonna be Beyonce. So you got the look, sis. That's all you needed. But
I'll say this for you. One thing, because you got to experience Act 2 in Nashville, which is a vibe. Renaissance or Act 2? Well, I'll put you on the spot. That's hard.
It's a hard one. Honestly, I want to see Cowboy Carter in Nashville get its flowers. I want to see her on the Country Music Hall of Fame. I want to see her on the Grand Ole Opry stage do an intimate show and introduce. It is a highlight of a country music artist's career to see them on the Grand Ole Opry stage. My sister's been on the Grand Ole Opry stage. I've managed another client, Grammy Award-winning Dom Flemons. He's been on the Grand Ole Opry stage. I think she deserves that shot. There's been so much talk over the past few days about her not getting any nominations for the CMA Awards. I ultimately think her body of work with Cowboy Carter was magnificent.
It was.
I think it
was different, but it was so beautiful.
It was different, but I don't even think people realize, like, it gave history with Linda Martell. It gave new energy with Shabuzi. It introduced a lot of Black women in country music. I feel like it just gave everything that it needed to give beyond just our normal Beyonce and who we know her to be. I feel like she definitely dug deep, and I feel like it deserves its light in Nashville.
And the way that Beyonce does is, you said it yourself, she gave all these artists a platform. And propelled them into spaces and places that no one else could do. She literally took her light and magnified it and gave it to them. And although mainstream, they may not acknowledge it, they may not give her the flowers that she deserves, she has changed it single-handedly for minority country artists, Black country artists. Yeah. She has changed it forever. And at the end of the day, it's not written. I think the Grammys, she hasn't won Album of the Year yet.
And she hasn't.
And I'm hoping and praying that
she at least gets a nomination.
I'm like manifesting in my heart. Like, is she going to win? Is her first Album of the Year going to be her country album? Is it going to be, because we know she's making waves. And so, like, take lessons in Beyonce. Let's just be like B.
No, I think there's a huge lesson with the country music album. I think there's a huge lesson. I mean, she even had Willie Nelson is legendary.
It's amazing. It is a phenomenal body of work. Yeah. But she's building this empire. Like, look at Sir Davis. Look at her. Like, we could do a class. Let's do a podcast course on B.
I feel like
let's do a workshop on B. But like, okay, look at Sir Davis. Look at her alcohol brand that she's built. That is phenomenal. That is high quality. That has history. Look at her hair care line. And look how she's spoken to the history of Black hair and what it means to us and how it's infused in our culture. Look at her music. Like, come on, she'll live forever. Look at everything that she's put her hands on and created, and she's just shining that light. And like, we don't need them to award B to know that B was it. Like, no, I'm like, oh, that was Album of the Year. That was forever. Now I'm praying that they acknowledge it. I am, but at the end of the day, the how she radiates and what she's done to culture, her and her whole family, it's unreal. It
is. But I think the day that we acknowledge it, Nashville changes. This city changes. It does. CMA Fest changes.
Do you feel like the city's afraid of that?
I don't think the city is afraid of that. I think the city is ready for that. I think Taylor Swift and Beyonce both going on tour back to back in the same year within weeks of each other let the world know that Nashville was ready for that. Absolutely. I think Taylor Swift being able to sell out like multiple nights in a row in Nashville. I think her being who she is and willing to speak out for her own beliefs. I mean, her endorsing Kamala and being like, I don't care what y'all got to say. Like, this is why I'm endorsing her. I think the city is ready for that. Somebody asked me that the other day. Yes, urban Nashville is ready for the Renaissance. So if you ask me, Renaissance or Act Two, like, the city's ready for the Renaissance. But, there are some bureaucratic measures in place that are preventing it from moving forward. But like you said, inch by inch, we will get there.
We will.
And so, I mean, the torchbearers are making a way. Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson, they didn't get on the album for no reason.
Absolutely. I think strategic. They know.
The ancestors understand the assignment.
Absolutely. So do we understand? We understand our assignment. So
yes,
absolutely.
We understand our assignment. And I hope you all watching today have gathered some tidbits, whether you are a mom thinking about being a mom, an entrepreneur, a wife, or just a friend. I feel like you just have so much joy. Like, you radiate all these pieces of energy that we all need. So when I listen to a podcast, want certain elements of that podcast to brighten my day. And you gave us, Dominique Sensabaugh gave us all the sense we needed to carry on. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you, sis. I love you.
Thank you. When is part 2? Sign me up.
Okay, part 2 coming. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, follow Dominique on Instagram. Are you a TikToker yet?
I'm trying. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. I'm trying to get to a TikTok one thing at a time. After
you and me both.
Yeah, I'm trying. TikTok, it overwhelms me. So I'm just trying to get there. Work with the old head.
I feel you. I am not, I'm trying, but for the meantime, you can find Dominique. She does have a blog and a website where she is sharing all of her thoughts, and then also just follow her on Instagram.
And then also, if I'm able to bring phenomenal events, my goal is to come back. You saying that to me, you just sparked a fire in me of bringing, like, we need to bring back, I need to bring these DSLB events here back to Nashville. This is where it started.
Yes.
Everything about my brand and what I've created and built, it all started in this city.
Yeah.
So I know this city is ready for it. It groomed me and then threw me out there. And now I'm like, it's time to come back. And
it is.
I know it exists.
And one last thought, I think people think that the Southern women, Southern Black people, I feel like are often left out of the equation unless we live in Atlanta. I think y'all need to wake up because we live in Nashville. We live in Charlotte.
Yes.
We live in New Orleans.
Yes.
We live in Charleston. We are alive and thriving. We live in Memphis.
Absolutely.
The southern cities do have something to offer. I often feel left out of the fashion conversations because we don't live in New York. And it's like, but we have things to offer.
We have something to wear. Yes.
Yes. We can do hair. We can do makeup. We can do all these things.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned to myself and Dominique and follow her on all socials and make sure you like, share, and subscribe. There will be a part 2, 3, 4, and 5. And yes, it's coming soon. More DSLB events. You have to be there to know how good they are. The last one I went to was Friendsgiving, and I just feel that's a highlight of my life.
We have Galentine's coming up 2025. We're full throttle now. We're back.
Yes.
And it took a while to get the engine turning, but we're back. And so Galentine's in Charlotte, and we're definitely going to be coming back to Nashville soon.
I will be there.
I know you will.
I love you.
I love you more. Thank you.
Oh.